Hello, everybody. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you all to the week 4 of DevToberfest 2023. As we near the end of our DevToberfest, I believe you have enjoyed and gained valuable knowledge from the session so far. I am Rekha Dr, a developer advocate at SAP. I will be the host for this session. This is week 4 of low code, no code sessions. The topic of this session is, will no code work for my use case? Run the use case buddy. Before we start, I would like to highlight this for our attendees that you can earn 300 points for this session by attending and answering the questions based on this session, which will advance you closer to the grand prize. I believe you already aware that there are 10 grand prizes, which means 10 Devtoberfest contestants get to win this grand prize worth $5,000. The winners get a grand prize of an all-expense-paid trip to SAP's Newport Beach office in California, USA, and a VIP experience at one of area's major tourist destinations. Is that wonderful? Now I would like to invite our Build experts Friederike Marby and Kanishka Raghuraman from SAP to introduce themselves and start this session. Over to you, Friederike and Kanishka.
Thank you so much, Rekha. And I couldn't have put it better as you did already. And Kanishka and I would like to warmly welcome you to our Devtoberfest session on SAP Build and their tools on how to support good governance of low-code and citizen development. I'm Friederike Marby, and together with my charming, wonderful colleague, Kanishka, we're excited to show you a use case that we have been developing for this. We used SAP Build, created what we call the use case buddy, a solution that helps IT to streamline the management of use case ideations and approvals with citizen developers. In a few moments, Kanishka will, of course, show you how you can build this tool for your organization using SAP Build. But before we get into that, I would love to start with a little introduction on it. Because you are all participating in this session, you already are probably also excited about low-code as we are, and excited to see how it is changing software development. And in fact, companies everywhere are demanding low-code solutions to drive professional developer efficiency, to drive your efficiency, to empower also business users to become a new source of innovation. A recent IDC survey found that 50% of the respondents are already shifting their development tasks to low-code solutions to speed themselves up, to speed their professional developer colleagues up, to speed up their business user colleagues also, to contribute and to drive projects themselves. And 60% even told us that they will increase their investments in low-code solutions by 10 to 25% in the next 18 to 24 months. Which just means that there will be lots of new use cases, lots of new projects, and lots of new workload coming, which will need to be implemented. And 43% actually of professional developers have a compelling reason to use low-code, no-code, because as they told us, it really accelerates development and it helps you go so much faster. So it's clear. The market agrees that low-code is not only here to stay, but it has made significant inroads in most competitive organizations. Let's just look at some of the benefits and challenges that have been experienced so far by organizations who include or implement low-code programs. The most significant takeaway, let me put it this way, or the most significant lesson learned from the market experience with rolling out low-code, no-code is that the time to value is really dependent on a well-planned and executed operating model. These two really belong together. And the advantages which low-code technology offers are significant, but also complete new ways of working are required to realize these great benefits. But what are the benefits? We all love benefits. And some of the benefits of low-code projects include that you really have a way faster realization of all of the benefits of your use cases, and with them being digitized. You have really short implementation cycles, and so you can really go up fast from idea to the end product. You have really minimal upfront investment. it's easy to start building and make changes. You can just go from just a thought to a prototype to an idea in a matter of minutes or hours. You have no disruptions to underlying and covered systems. And that's what you probably know best about, all of the systems having to interact with each other, which can be really a struggle. And extensions that you build or that you're going to build with SAP Build are side by side, and you can just create them via the SAP Business Technology Platform. No disruptions in the future then. And low-code also is led by the business with the support of IT. When it's this way, the process experts themselves lead the definition of their needs and build their own solutions. And then they can ask for support from IT, ask for help from IT. In this way, it's more of a collaboration instead of the business user says what he wants and then IT needs to build it. This way, it's much more together and connected, which is really good. And of course, it's highly scalable and adapts quickly to business changes in the environment so that you can change up what you need in a matter of seconds. But we need to be honest with ourselves and see that it's not all sunshine and roses, as we like to put it most of our time. Many organizations already experience challenges with rolling out low-code programs. Even though they know about all of the benefits and they want to achieve them, there are lots of delays in time to value sometimes. Because one of the first things is that not all companies have really holistic enterprise strategy for their low code, for their automations, for their citizen developments. Sometimes it's just, we need to have it, so let's do it. But there's not a plan, not a where do we want to go? How do we want to roll it out? How do we do our processes? So this needs to be defined. Talking about processes, lots of them are really fragmented. You have one process there and the other one there, and that one is split up, and putting it all together, having a solid logic flow can be really hard. The next point, disorganized and siloed implementations. I think you all probably know better about this one than we do, because implementing different solutions, systems, products can be really hard and can also be a barrier to use low-code efficiently. Lack of IT readiness. IT has lots of different requirements already, and they need to do so much already. So at some points, they can't even be at the top of everything. So in some cases, they might not even be ready yet. And, changing from professional development to low-code development can be hard. And when you have insufficient change management, then it's even harder. Because having a change from this whole pro-code development approach to everything, to changing it up into a low-code approach to some cases, can be hard when you don't know what's happening. And of course, unrealistic expectations. You won't just blink twice and then everything will be magically and perfectly working. You do have to put some work into it. And that's what you have to put up in your mind too. It would be amazing if it would just work like this. But as we know, the business world, as you know, the IT world, we need to set our minds to what it actually is. And I think one of the most important things is that business and IT don't speak the same language. And that's not even meant in a bad way. It's just that business people are using words, phrases that IT peeps don't understand in some ways. And on the other hand, it's the same thing. And that's one of the major issues, that there's this huge gap between business and IT, and they need to communicate because they want to collaborate, because each of them has great expertise in their very own way, obviously. But it's hard for them to communicate. And lots of issues happening are due to this miscommunication barriers. And of course, there's so many use cases out there, so many use cases, processes that needs to be digitized that could really use low code, but it's hard sometimes to understand these use cases. They're out there. Maybe the process owners know already about them. Maybe the business users know all of the problems they have, but really defining use cases, saying what you need, what would I need it for, what would it take me, and to achieve this understanding, that's really hard. But it's crucial to do great low-code programs. And that's why we would love to talk to you in this session today, and that's will also our focus be about the use case buddy, because it jumps in exactly that last point, which is also marked purple on our slide. Because the lack of understanding of the use cases is quite crucial, and with our use case buddy, we're pretty positive that you can really overcome these issues. But before we get into the really interesting and fun solution details, let's talk a little bit about the operational context for the solution. Because as we know, as you all probably know, if we don't understand what's it used for, why do we want to do it, then it's even harder to build. And that's why we'll dive into it, the use case body, deeper later on. As you all probably know, looking at the operational context, looking at the usual low-code development lifecycle is really important. This is why we brought an approach that we know that lots of companies have. So you start with having your organizations, your IT administrators doing lots of enablement. How do your citizen developers, how do your professional developers get information? How can they be driven to more success? And then there would be the ideation. So what ideas are out there? What processes do we want to have digitized? What is it really realistic to do this? Is it more realistic to do another thing? That's all in this big ideation phase. And then once we have these use cases that we want to have, these use cases that went through enable, went through the smaller funnel of ideation, then they need to be validated. For example, by the line of business, they need to validate this idea. Then the IT product owner from the respective systems and information might also need to validate it. And then you would come to design, then you would prepare the development, then you would do the actual development, test it, do security runs, do compliance checks, and then roll it out, care for operations and support, do the go live, and then eventually at the end of life of the application, you could sunset it. And that's the usual development lifecycle. And the use case buddy jumps in at this first part of the funnel. So all of these steps with enablement, ideation, line of business validation, also the product owner validation from IT. This is where the use case buddy can jump in and really help you be effective. And you see that's big part of the funnel that can be helped, that you don't need to worry as much about it. Because the use case buddy is relevant in these early stages because it is an enablement tool for your IT admins to provide and help citizen developers. It's also an ideation tool for the next phase, for citizen developers to think through some of the important requirements for building their use cases. And it's also a validation tool because it can route the submitted use cases, for instance, to reviewers for the assessment, for the agreements, so that everyone is aligned. But who are we talking about? Who is this magic everyone about it? Let's just look at the usual company, at the usual personas who would be included in your local development lifecycle, who would use the use case buddy. And during the lifecycle we just reviewed, we could think about 4 key personas. Starting on the left, we would have Megan Long. Megan is a process manager, or for instance, the line of business manager, and she's responsible for the activity that you want to digitize by building the local use case. She really cares about time to value, she cares about return on investment and the impact that the solution will have on improving the business results. Then we have Maggie Willer. Maggie is a process expert and a business user. She cares about improving and digitizing her very own day-to-day work for herself and her department. And we've got Ryan. Ryan is a professional developer. Ryan may use low-code to increase his own efficiency or while collaborating with the citizen developer on that project. Finally, we also had Ian Mayer, our IT admin. Ian not only operates and administrates SAP Build, but he is the lead for SAP Build and SAP Build, SAP Business Technology Platform, in his organization cloud development team. Ian is probably also the guy who built the use case buddy that Kanishka will show later on, and then shared with the local developers in the organization. And of course, depending on the complexity of the use case that should be built, Maggie and Ryan, our citizen developer and a professional developer, will need to collaborate at some point. And also Ian might be more or less involved depending on the complexity of the use cases. So to talk about that furthermore, let's generally look at how the use case buddy could classify low-code use cases for development. Let's just put everyone on the same page and let me help you orient you on this framework. On the right side, we have this light and blue dark triangles for the citizen developers and the professional developer, or the central IT part. And as you see, the white part of the triangle indicates the growing or the decreasing amount of the involvement of each persona. So at the bottom right side, you would have at level 4, as you can see, the professional developer would do more than the citizen developer would do or be more involved. And that's where you could think about some levels. And we would love to introduce you to 4 levels we talked about. So let's quickly review them. And the use case body, of course, will have all of these levels and will help both the citizen developer and the IT to know which level would fit their use case into. Because use cases differ from use case to use case, and not all of them need the same treatment, and all of them need the same resources. Let's look into it, actually. So level 1, that's what we call do-it-yourself, because it just includes the easiest use cases for low-code development, where the citizen developer can easily define requirements. He or she can easily build it and release it themselves, also take care of the ongoing maintenance. And honestly, IT administrators and pro developers only need to get involved with support questions, maybe. Right? That's level 1 use case, or level 1 use case where there's not much critical data involved. There's no hard or specific systems involved. That's just, you can give that to the hand of the citizen developers easily. Level 2 is what we would call light collaboration. And in this level, like IT or the professional developer would need to get involved a little bit more. For example, they need to be involved to help set up a data resource, like an API, or they would help with implementation operations. But otherwise, the citizen developer is completely fine to do the rest of their work on their own, because it is not as complicated. Level 3 is what we would call peak fusion. And there, the citizen developers and the professional developers are both fully involved in defining and building the solutions. And then the IT admins are involved for development and operations. Because already in this level 3 use cases, it's a use case that's complex, that's hard to set up, that's important to define the right way. And that's why there you would have the citizen developer, so the business knowledge, and the professional developer of the real developing knowledge 50-50 into it. That's what we would define level 3 as. Of course, you could also think of different levels, but that's what we propose. And the last level would be what we call mostly pro code, which means that the citizen developer may have produced the idea of the use cases, but honestly, after reviewing and validating this whole complexity of the use cases, it is decided that while a project can be built using low code, it wouldn't be suitable for citizen developers, because that's too big. And that's where we would collaborate with the citizen developers on having the idea and having the targeted mindset and where we would need to go. But we would need the help of professional developers to fully build it up. And that's where I'd now love to introduce you to the use case buddy, because talking about all of these complexity and how to define different levels, how to help this whole peak and fusion collaboration thing, that's where the use case buddy jumps in. So we know the benefits of low code. We know that we need different complexity levels of use cases in order to understand them fully, to use the benefits. And that's where the use case buddy jumps in. To sum it up, the use case buddy is a solution that we built using SAP Build specifically. We also used SAP Build Process Automation and SAP Build Workzone. And with the use case buddy, all of the problems we talked about will be solved in a way, because IT admins can use the example that we built, that we will show to you, with their very own version of their use case buddy for their organization. And with their use case buddy, they will be allowed to enable and scale the ideation, the filtering, the enablement, and the portfolio growth of their use cases for low-code development by offering their very own citizen developers a helper, so that they have this use case buddy as a helper for the professionals, for the IT admins, so that they can split some of their workloads and also speed up their citizen developers in a way. Because with the use case buddy, you could easily gather this general specification on the use case, what is needed, tech-wise, API-wise, etc., without citizen developers having to dive too much into it. But the use case buddy helps them to easily gather that and transfer it to IT. It also can classify the complexity of the low-code project for the fusion collaboration. Think about the different levels. The use case buddy helps you to think about how much resources from your side do you need to do this project. It also helps your IT admins to review and approve use cases for development. Think about validating ideas, if you really want them to be built or not. That's what the use case buddy will help you. And it also stores all of the information which is gathered in a use case repository, so that your citizen developers, your professional developer, everyone who's interested can go into this use case repository and think about it. So now that we broadly understand the benefits of the use case buddy. We'll just review the real capabilities a little further. That's what basically is about. The use case buddy enables and scales ideation. As you see, it classifies low-code ideas from initiation to processing to forwarding to the whole portfolio management. To put it easy, the initiation part of the solution is built with SAP Build App. SAP Build Apps. With it, the citizen developer can answer easy questions in an app to describe the use case they want to build. And the app will then score the idea, calculate the complexity for themselves without them having to think about how to put it, how to maybe describe it. That's what the app will do with them with the answers they gave. And upon seeing the results of the questions they handed in, the citizen developer can decide to forward it also to IT for approval. Do we want to validate it quickly? That's why he can easily also forward it to IT for approval. Then the next part would come in. Then you would do the processing and forwarding parts of the solutions, which are built with SAP Build Process Automation. An email, an inbox notification will get sent out to the IT admins for reviewing the details of the use case idea. And then IT can approve the idea, then the email will get sent back to the citizen developer with all of the outcome and summary of the project. And that all will be automatically. And simultaneously with this whole notification and information processing part is that the information will also get forwarded and published in an SAP Build Workzone repository so that every information is at one page. And in this repository, as you see on the right side, the use cases are presented in a list full of other use cases that are already out there as well as its own page. Then users can, on this page, comment, contribute, exchange ideas about the use case. And all of these users could be professional developers, could be citizen developers, could be everyone interested. And then they, as well as the IT admins, professional developers, have one place where they can find all the use cases which are approved, which are rejected in the organization for just an easy reference to put it. And that's the idea of the use case buddy. You have these three great parts that work hand in hand together, which help your citizen developers. And by helping them, you also do a great big part for your professional developers. And with that, I'm honest, I was excited so much for that one. Let's jump to the most exciting part of our presentation and let's take a tour of the use case buddy. Kanishka, what do you think? Do you like to start?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Frederique. That was an amazing discussion about this use case buddy. And let me share my screen now. Yeah. So hello, everyone. I am Kanishka. It's glad to be back in another session for this Devtoberfest. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. And so today now I'm very excited to present this use case buddy app. So let's quickly go through the solution diagram of this solution. So at the outset of a project, we never anticipated that we would harness the full potential of all three products. Yet we find ourselves here today. It's fully remarkable how the capabilities of process automation and build apps and workzone have significantly enhanced our original idea. And these products are seamlessly connected through destinations here. And we have two personas. One is the citizen developer and the other one is the IT administrator. So like Frederique gave a quick overview of how we are planning to use this solution. So the citizen developer ideally in a company would be using this application, this use case buddy app, which we call it as, that is built using SAP Build Apps to enter their use case ideas. And in this application, along with entering their use case ideas, they will also answer a few set of very basic questions, which will help us calculate the complexity of their use case, which will give a better understanding for the IT administrators or governance experts to quickly go through their use case and give a review or make decide how they can collaborate to make this use case into a real solution. And after answering all the set of questions and complexity calculation, this solution is expected to be reviewed, like I said, by the IT administrators, and they will, after reviewing, they will have make a decision how they want to proceed with this use case idea, and this ideas will be sent to the work zone page. Yeah. So after entering the details, using destinations, the data is exchanged to process automation, where process automation will take care of automating this decision approval flow. And process automation will then use an action item to upload this business data to SAP Build workzone site, which will be our center of excellence toolkit, where everyone in the company will have access to it, and they can review all the use cases submitted by their colleagues, and they can also do comment, or they can also collaborate in making creating this idea, giving it a life together. And also I want to quickly share a funny story of how we started with this, how we created this solution, because we're talking about fusion development and citizen development. Yeah, I'm also a typical citizen developer in general, and one day Frederica came approached me and asking about she's working on a POC, and we just started building the POC, and within no time we created the entire end-to-end solution even without the knowledge. So that was really amazing, how a couple of citizen developer built this end-to-end solution and presenting with everyone today, and which is also potential going to help collaboration of more citizen development in the future. Yeah. So enough talking, and now I'll quickly show you the demo of how this solution works. Yeah. So first, from the user perspective, we would use this use case buddy application. Let's find out what is going to happen here. So since this is a use case buddy app, so we would also like to evaluate our use case buddy app using our use case buddy solution. So to evaluate what the complexity here is. So describing the solution. So we want to create an end-to-end solution to collect use case ideas from the colleagues, calculate its complexity, and get it reviewed by the IT and governance team to check the feasibility of creating the solution, and also save this approved information in a workspace that can be accessed by everyone. So right now I want to build an application. I want to build a process that is automated, and also build a portal. So the line of business IT. So I want to improve my IT operations, and the business value is fostering the citizen development. Yeah. So now we'll be answering a few set of questions, like how many data sources I will need. So we have two connections here, which will be the build apps and the process automation integration. So it's just two data sources. And then this information comes from only the cloud systems, because we're just using our in-house tools. And so this information will be saved in a customized format. So I'll just select the customized structure, and the metrics. So far we now decided how to save the metrics, so we'll just select the not sure option. So every question will have 5 different options with like 4 potential options, and if you're not sure what about answering the question, then we can select the 5th option, which will be the unsure. And next we'll talk about the collaboration, like how many people might be using this application or the solution. So yeah, it will be definitely more than 20. And the number of departments. So yeah, just to make sure, like if there might be some departments that I'm not well aware of, so I want the solution to be accessible by everyone. Like, so let's select not sure, and we need this solution accessed by the entire organization. So I just select this option. And for the time, so I want the solution to be running all the time. And this solution will not be used regularly, it will just be used as needed. So only when the user is using an application to trigger the process, only then this solution will be running. So otherwise, it will not be running all the time. And the duration that might take to run this process from end to end. So this is not a very typical approval, so it might take just a few hours, hopefully. And yeah, we just have like two outcomes here, either approved or we get rejected by the IT admin in case our idea is too ambitious to be developed or to be handled by us without any knowledge of how to handle this backend data and stuff. And for the decisions and logic, it has a few steps and few simple decisions. And also these decisions are just simple approvals because we're just creating some prototypes. And after calculating the complexity, so here based on the questions we answered, we got this complexity score of 3.9, which is said to be a moderate difficulty use case. So it might not be too hard for a citizen developer to develop this solution, and that's very true. What do you say, Frederica? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, exactly what you say.
Yeah. So and we want this solution to go live from 2nd November, and just giving a small notes to our IT team that we want to launch it by decade. So since we are ready, we are also ready to launch it now, and just submitting my use case for the IT admin. So after submitting the use case, then it's relaxed time for the citizen developers. And now let's look at the IT admin perspective, how they would look at it. So once a request is submitted via application, the IT admin would be getting an email like this, saying that okay, so once a person has proposed a new use case, and please open your inbox to review it. Okay. Yeah. So here we see all the data from the application is being transferred to the IT admins via process automation, and IT admins will quickly review through what the solution is about based on few metrics they have, and here they can give a message to the requester saying that okay, seems this solution is possible, and a quick message for them. Yeah, and then it is finally approved by the IT admin. So coming back to the user perspective, the user will now get another email notification saying that their use case has been approved. And now this solution, this use case is also will also be transferred to the this works on page, which is the digital center of excellence within our organization. So this is a white label solution which we are planning to launch by decade. So here in this use case repository knowledge base, so here I can see our solution is being posted here via destinations again. So when I select the use case body, here I can see the more details which was entered in the application. So here more, and we also have this collaboration feature here. So colleagues from my company can also have a look at this solution, and they can also give their thoughts or comments about this use case, and also have potential collaboration and try to make this idea even more better. So this is how this end-to-end solution works. And I'll also try to quickly show you how we built this solution. So this is our build apps project. So we had like a few pages to answer the questions, and also we are using some simple formulas to calculate the complexity here based on the option that is selected. And we also have like very two basic data connections. One is to send this up workflow, like this data to the process automation. And we also have an additional feature in this application where we can also track the status of uh, the use case, like the approvals. So for that, we're using another destination over here. So this way, all this information is sent to the process automation for these IT admin. So the more magic happens in the process automation. It seems to like I think I have a broken internet connection today. So the process builder is taking a long time to load. So yeah, so here we built a process which will send this data where we'll get this information via an API trigger. And after processing the information, it will then send this information to the IT admin. And after this IT admin's approval, this information is forwarded to the works on page via an actions project. So this is how our use case buddy application works. And yeah, this is it. So if we have any questions, if you have any questions, we can answer it, I guess.
So Louis asked in the YouTube chat whether it's possible to get the app from a GitHub repository. Kanishka, what's your take on this?
So yeah, so we are actually, do you want us to share this information, Frederica?
Yes, that's what I would have gone in a later point of time too, but I guess we can also jump into it now because as soon as we will do the full complete version of the use case buddy, and as soon as we will launch it, we will put it out there in our governance resource center. And that's a central repository where we would like to hand out all of our great assets we have on governance. And you will see it live in some weeks, probably by TechEd, and that's our governance resource center. That's for all of you professional developers out there, and mostly for your IT admins out there. This is a page where we centrally position all of our governance and important assets. Yeah, there you can operate and scale your low-code developer program with confidence. You could also have access to the Digital Center of Excellence template Kanishka showed just in a glance today, which we can also talk further if you'd like to. And on this page, you would also enable and scale your low-code portfolio with a use case buddy, and that's where you would get it. Of course, you can also, as of today, have access to this page if you would like to. I'll show the sign-up information in a second for it. But once the use case buddy is at a stage where we are really proudly to present and to give it out to all of you, you can go to this page and follow the instructions to get it for your own organization and set it up. Because as Kanisha already said, it's not just the app, that's also the process automation and the workzone page in general. And also, of course, for you, the thinking on how you would want to think of levels of who needs to validate it. And exactly. And if you want to get access now, you can sign up here to get access to the Governance Resource Center. And once it's live, you can go there, check it out, and check out all of our great governance assets, enablement materials, guides, and knowledge. I hope that answers the question. If not, just give us a note.
Yeah, and I also want to add a point to that. So yeah, we are just trying to publish this as a template. So it may not necessarily be the way we should. We will also provide all the guidelines where how you can customize this application or how you can customize the process and the action items as well, and how you can also change the structure, how you can also modify the works on pages and how you want it to be displayed or being interacted by your colleagues within your company also. So it's just a template and it's fully customizable. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. So thank you, Friederike, for your cheerful presentation and Kanishka for the insightful demo that shows the powerful capabilities of SAP Build Use Case Buddy tool. I personally think this tool is very handy to analyze the fit of use cases and support our customers and partners to take a call during the solution development. For our attendees, I have a reminder. In order to earn the points for this session, you may want to complete the assessment. The link for the assessment is in the description as well as in the chat box. Our learnings doesn't end here at Devtoberfest. We have TechEd coming up. Registration for TechEd 2023 is now open. It is your time to unlock the world of new trainings and learnings from SAP. SAP TechEd is held both virtually and in person in Bangalore, India on 2nd and 3rd of November. I invite you all to take part and experience it. You can earn 1,000 points towards this Devtoberfest by just registering for the TechEd event. Thank you, everybody, for joining this session, and I wish you all a nice day ahead. Take care. So